Actress Felicity Huffman, she is back in court today where she'll be sentenced for her role in the massive college admissions scandal.
Huffman pleaded guilty to fraud charges in May. She's also the first parent to be sentenced out of 34 charged. Prosecutors want her to spend 30 days in prison for having to have the answers on her daughter's SATs corrected. Carter Evans reports from outside the federal courthouse in Boston.
Felicity Huffman's lawyer argues she shouldn't have to spend any time in prison. He says this is a victimless crime because there's no proof that anyone lost any money. So he's asking for probation, a $20,000 fine, and 250 hours of community service. But today, it's all up to the judge.
Felicity, do you have anything you'd like to say to your fans?
Wearing a baseball cap and sunglasses, Felicity Huffman put her head down and kept her lips sealed as she arrived in Boston with her husband, actor William H. Macy, ahead of her sentencing. This afternoon, she'll learn her fate, and her months-long legal saga will come to an end.
On your right now.
The Emmy Award-winning actress pleaded guilty in May to fraud charges. She admitted she paid $15,000 to a proctor to have her daughter's answers on her SAT exam corrected. In a letter ahead of her sentencing, Huffman said she felt shame for what she did, admitting she had broken the law, deceived the educational community, and betrayed her daughter.
Hey, I know you're probably busy. I really need to talk to somebody.
Huffman's Desperate Housewives co-star Eva Longoria is among those who've come to her defense. In a character letter to the judge who'll sentence Huffman, Longoria said her friend has a kind heart. At work on the show, she said Huffman stood up for her when she was bullied by another co-worker, and she would not have survived without her friendship.
Today is the day of reckoning for Felicity Huffman.
CBS News legal analyst Rikki Klieman says she doesn't think Felicity Huffman will serve jail time. But that doesn't mean the other defendants, including Full House star Lori Loughlin, should breathe a sigh of relief.
Felicity Huffman is definitely the floor. She is the bottom because she has done everything right. Even if Felicity Huffman gets probation, I don't think Lori Loughlin should think that the same facts apply to her.
Lori Loughlin pleaded not guilty to paying $500,000 to get her two daughters into USC. Earlier this week, the Office of Probation recommended a sentence of 0 to 6 months for those defendants who entered a guilty plea. We'll find out later today. Sentencing is this afternoon. Vlad and Anne-Marie.
All right, Carter, thank you. So for more on this, we want to bring in CBS News legal analyst Rikki Klieman. Yeah, she was in the story, but now we have her.
Now we have her right here,
live and in color.
Yeah.
So let's talk about kind of what Carter brought up. That initially the prosecution was recommending 4 months in jail, I think.
4 months was their floor. They were looking for basically 4 or more.
So now they dropped it to 1 month.
They dropped it to 1 month. And so the Hobson's choice for this judge is really 1 month or no month. So it's a 30-day differential. But the defense attorney in this case was very, very smart and wrote some beautiful paperwork to give to the court and said no time in prison, but we would like to do 250 hours of community service because she has really lived her life as an act of contrition. In this case, she felt shame from the very beginning. She was the model of shame. I often have this image of my head of someone who is cloaked in shame. And she has done everything correctly because this is the type of defendant who has said, oh my heavens, what have I done? Not only to myself, to my family, to society, but what have I done to my daughter? And so she's the floor. There will be no sentence that will be as low as hers amongst these, I don't think, but things will go up from her. So defense attorney Smart, don't just let her go. Let's give her 250 hours of community service so she can keep being part of this act of contrition.
So you think that if she, whatever happens next, that this will be the most lenient sentence that we see of all these other parents that are being...
Of the parents, yes.
Of the parents.
I have no doubt. Because number one is her financial commitment here was $15,000. No one is even near that low figure. Now, the debate, of course, here, which has happened this week on Tuesday, which was a huge hearing and the most significant hearing from the case, which has not been ruled upon yet, is that the defense of all of these people, and the Office of Probation, which usually has the final word that the judge really listens to, they say, hey, wait, this is, as Carter put it, a victimless crime. There was a victim, that is a university or a test-taking company, but they suffered zero financial loss. So since you've charged fraud, we usually decide sentencing guidelines for fraud on the basis of financial loss. That's what we do. And if there is no loss to a victim here, a first-time offender gets 0 to 6 months. So whose fault is this? Prosecution's fault. Prosecution should have charged other charges other than fraud. So with the people going to trial, what the prosecution has done here is they've added money laundering counts, and they've added tax evasion counts. So those people, including Lori Loughlin, they're in a very different category than these parents who are coming in to plead. And you're going to see me here a lot in the next, say, 6 to 8 weeks as one by one they come in for their sentences.
So separately, the LA Times reports that UCLA uncovered Rick Singer's plot like 5 years ago.
Yes, I was really shocked, and I think all of us should be who have ever read the LA Times article, which came out yesterday. I tell people they ought to go and read it because I thought I've read everything about this case.
Right.
I had no idea. UCLA apparently discovered wrongdoing on the part of Rick Singer, who is the mastermind of the college admissions scandal. He is the center of the wheel, the hub of the wheel. Rick Singer was looked at by UCLA in 2014. They did an investigation. They filed a report. They briefed the president of the university. They created reforms within the process of athletic recruits. However, what they didn't do is they didn't tell federal authorities. That would have saved a lot of time and probably might have saved many of these parents from ever being prosecuted.
Wow. Could the school face, I don't know, legal or civil or any kind of
I don't
repercussions?
think so. Certainly not criminal, because what they did do was an internal investigation that was very, very thorough. The fact that they should have gone a step further, I can advise that they should have. They didn't, but there's no criminal attachment to that. And I really don't see civil liability either, though people are litigious these days. You never know.
They certainly are. Rikki Klieman, thank you very much. We'll be watching. The sentencing happens later today.
Yeah.
So we'll be seeing what happens.
And I'll be back.
You'll be back, yes, exactly. Thank you very much, Rikki.